The day has come for some good Chelsea news. Today, I want to talk about how this man right here will save Chelsea. If you don't believe me, then that's fair enough because after all, I am just a random person on the internet. But to all you real football fans out there, you're going to want to stay till the end because I can assure you that by the end of this video, your opinions on this man will be swayed in one way or another. So let's begin with a little recap on the man himself. If you couldn't already tell by his attire, this man right here is a manager and arguably one of the better managers out there. Much better than these two, that's for certain. Before managing, he did actually play professional football, meaning he does have first-hand experience when it comes to football, so that's always a positive. But he did retire at the considerably young age of 34, and at that moment he decided that his journey playing football was over, but his journey with football had only just begun. 3 years after retiring, Mauricio had returned. He decided to take over his old club, RCD Espanyol. His first match, Barcelona, and we're talking about 2009 Barcelona. Poch managed to draw this game 0-0. This was his first game in charge. Ridiculous stuff right there. If that were me, I'd have shat myself, I'm not gonna lie. A few years later, and Poch had departed from RCD and was making his way to the Premier League. In his first year, he managed Southampton to an 8th place finish, and although the Saints would have loved for him to stay, he couldn't because Mauricio had already planned to move on to his next big team. This was the job offer that really made him the man he is today. It was also the job offer that allowed the world to see more of his interesting style of play. He first joined Spurs back in 2014 and was well on his way to becoming a club legend. In his first year, he managed to make it to the finals of the Carabao Cup, only to be stopped by the best team in the world. He finished the 2014-15 season at 5th place, whilst Chelsea sat at the top of the table, 8 points clear of City. The very next year, Poch finished 3rd and had a very good chance of winning the league in itself. The only problem? Chelsea. After drawing 2-2 with Chelsea on May 2nd, Spurs' chances of winning the league were over. There's a bit of a pattern here if you couldn't tell. Let's see if it changes in the next season. This time around, Spurs managed to finish at 2nd place, something that no manager at Spurs has managed to accomplish since the beginning of the Premier League. Now I beg of you to try and guess who Spurs came second to this year around. Was it Arsenal? United? Liverpool? No, it was Chelsea. Of course it was Chelsea. This marked the end of Poch's 3rd year with Spurs and still no trophies. But the impact he had on his team so far was extremely noticeable and helped display his array of qualities as a manager. The 2017-18 season was a forgettable one as yet again no trophies, but a 3rd place finish helped keep everyone's confidence in Pochettino. Now, the 2018-19 season, this one was unforgettable. Tottenham made their way to the finals of not the Carabao Cup, not the Audi Cup, but they made it to the Champions League final and lost 2-0 to Liverpool, meaning they went yet another year with no trophies. But that's not the point here. The Champions League finals, a position Tottenham fans have always dreamt of being in. Fast forward a couple of months and Mauricio has now been unfortunately sacked. This meant it was time for him to go elsewhere. In January 2021, he took over PSG on an 18-month contract, and by July 2022, he had once again become a free agent. 1 year later and we're all up to date. So there you have it, a little bit of context on Pochettino. If you were expecting me to go into detail on how his time was at PSG, then no, because ultimately he didn't have a good time there. Yes, he won his first ever trophies as a manager with the Parisians, but he was managing the best team in a farmers league. Like, what do you expect? Moving on to the next bit of the video, and now I want to start talking about Poch's football. Firstly, I want to talk about how good Poch is when it comes to developing players. A great example of a player that's been developed by Poch is Harry Kane, who is now arguably one of the best strikers in the world. Despite not winning any trophies with his side, Harry Kane has been the backboard of Tottenham for about a decade now and has proven to be an important asset for club and country. Now, why am I mentioning all this? Well, if you didn't know already, Chelsea have a lot of players. I mean a lot of players. It's become a meme at this point. There is a lot of talent amongst the Chelsea team and the Chelsea Academy, but all that talent can potentially go to waste if it isn't managed properly. So having Poch by our side is crucial for this reason in particular. But of course, that's not the selling point here. Well, not for me personally. The selling point for me would be the tactics that Poch actually uses. And trust me, I am sold. He usually goes for his iconic 4-2-3-1, which helps him implement his offensive style of football. This is a formation that Chelsea have used on a number of occasions this season, but have had very bad luck winning with it. However, with an actual manager now, I think it could work. The style of football Poch plays is very physically demanding and is very high intensity. It has the attackers always pressing, the fullbacks constantly running up and down, and the wingers cutting in from left and right. Pochettino's style of football is undoubtedly one of the more aggressive ones out there, and the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that Poch is gonna save Chelsea. His style of play heavily relies on fullbacks to be able to go up when attacking and still make it back in time to defend. We know this because we've seen Poch rely on his fullbacks countless times, like he did with Kyle Walker, Danny Rose, Kieran Trippier and Ben Davies back at Tottenham. At PSG, it was Hakimi and Nuno Mendes. And now here at Chelsea, he's got Ben Chilwell and Cucurella on the left, and of course, one of the best fullbacks in football today, Reece James, on the right-hand side. We've seen how deadly Chelsea fullbacks are when going up, so I don't even have to explain to you why this works so well for the team. In terms of wingers that can cut him, we've currently got Hakim Ziyech, Mudryk, Raheem Sterling, Pulisic and Madueke all as options for Poch here. Although I'm pretty certain that by the end of this summer, Ziyech and Pulisic will be well on their ways to find a team that plays them more often. The only way they'd stay is if Pochettino promises them some game time. But with so many players already at Chelsea, it wouldn't be surprising to see them leave. Now, there are some problems with our team, I'm gonna be honest. A new keeper is definitely something Poch should keep in mind this summer. But more so than that, what we definitely need is a solid striker. Saying this is simply just depressing because honestly, how many years has it been since Chelsea have had a real striker at the club? Let's just go through this quickly because honestly, what the hell, man. In the 22-23 season, we had Aubameyang, who in 15 Premier League appearances scored only 1 goal, which is just... yeah. We also had João Felix, who scored 4 in 16, but still, it's not good enough. In the 21-22 season, we had Lukaku, who scored 8 goals in 26 appearances, followed closely behind by Werner, who scored 4 goals in 21 appearances. It's better, but it's still not the standard for a high-quality striker in the Premier League. In the 2021 season, Werner and Tammy Abraham both had 6 goals, but the difference being Tammy Abraham played 22 games and Werner played 35. In the 2019-2020 season, Tammy Abraham scored 15 goals in 34 games. Following closely behind was Giroud with 8 goals in 18 games. This is what Chelsea need, and it only took us back 4 years, but we finally found some good Chelsea strikers. If Poch is going to bring anyone in this summer, it has to be another striker. But not just another striker, it has to be a good striker, one that fits in with the team and Pochettino's style of play. I'd go on and give my opinions on who I think should leave Chelsea this summer, but that'd take way too long, so I'm just going to leave it here. If you want to share any of your thoughts on Poch coming to Chelsea, feel free to comment down below. I most likely will reply, unless if it's something like this, because what do I even say here? Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed.